Question: who's ready for a Sunday afternoon chat with Steve Young from the Steve Young74 channel? We have a very interesting and important topic to go over. Back in a minute. Hey Steve, so good to see you. How you doing this afternoon?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you so much for being here for the Sunday afternoon chat.
hmm
We're going to get right into it. Going to jump right into some credit card questions. Some may seem like an obvious answer, but for some people, not necessarily. And that's the reason I thought, and Steve and I both thought collectively that it would be good to go over this. All right, Steve, this is an important question, like all of them. Number one, how can one damage their credit score?
That's easy. Miss a payment. Um, Technically, by law, the credit card company can submit negative information to the credit bureau if you're 30 days at minimum or more late on a payment. I think it's closer to 2 months. I think you have to miss a couple of payments. That gives them the right to go ahead and submit non-payment to the three credit bureaus. And what that'll do is it may not damage your credit score, but it'll definitely take a hit on your score. You'll definitely see it take a significant drop
Oh,
on
wow.
your score. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that makes totally logical sense. Um, and I didn't know about that leeway of time, like about the, 1 to 2, like that. Yeah. Well, they're gonna check into it. That's for sure. Steve, what is the difference between a hard credit inquiry versus a soft credit inquiry?
A hard inquiry is when you go to your financial institution and you're asking for their services for some type of loan or you want to borrow money from the financial institution, or if you want to open an account with that financial institution. A hard inquiry means that they're going to go in and look at your credit report very thorough. They want to know your payment history, they want to know your credit score, they want to know if you're paying on time. All of that falls under the hard inquiry. And it stays on your credit report at minimum of 2 years. Now, a soft inquiry is something along the lines, let's say you go and you apply for a job. And keep in mind, as long because when you go to fill out an application, your social, all of your information is on there. So, a soft inquiry, if you go to apply for a job, they have the ability to go in and look at your credit report. That would be a soft inquiry to look and see your score and all of that. I think it primarily has to revolve around your credit score. They look at what your score is. And I don't like it, especially when an employer goes to look at your credit like that, because what does that have to do with a person's job performance, how well they can conduct the job? Let's say you have somebody with a 780 credit score for job performance. They don't do their job. But you may have somebody over here with a 610 or a 605 or a 550, which is in the bad category, that does their job and to the nines more or less is what I'm saying. But I don't like a soft inquiry. So Bottom line, hard inquiry stays on your credit report minimum of 2 years. A soft inquiry, it's not a hit on your credit report whatsoever, to break it
Okay. Thank you, Steve. I
down.
honestly just want to throw something in. I am so in agreement with you in reference to me, it's like comparing apples to oranges. What on planet Earth? If someone, let's say someone went to school for a long time or has thorough experience in a certain job skill in their field, what on planet Earth should their credit score have to do with their ability to get a job? Some people have hardly any credit history at all because maybe they're young and they just didn't develop a credit history. It kind of just makes you wonder. I agree with you. I just don't get it at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Steve, this is important, very important. Many people think it's okay to just make the minimum payment on credit cards. I believe that some people don't understand why this is not the best route to go. Why? What are your thoughts on why you would not recommend just making the minimum payments?
Well, I don't recommend making a minimum payment. Keep in mind, everybody's APR on credit cards are different. Some may have 11, some may have 12, 15, 18, 20, and a lot of it has to do with a person's credit worthiness. But I don't recommend making the minimum payment because let's say your minimum payment is $30, but 20 to 25 of that could count as interest and only $10 go toward the balance. So that's why I say if you can make the minimum payment and one more. So instead of making a $30 payment, make a 60. That way you'll have more money going toward the balance. Plus that also allows you to pay the balance off quicker. Also, I will throw this in for measure. If you have the ability to make a triple payment, which would be what, $90, do it. I say that because the more you have going toward the balance, you're shortening your payout term to get it paid off.
Oh, that's actually a great suggestion there.
Mhm.
So, Steve, for those who might be unfamiliar, what exactly is a balance transfer and can it actually be useful?
Yes, it can be useful because what you're doing, and I've said it before, and if you don't mind me saying, I'll send it to you and you can include it in your description box or in your
Oh,
comment.
that'd be great.
I have a video that I did earlier in the year, I think back in January or February, and I got very, very, very specific and thorough about a balance transfer. It's something that somebody should not fear. Once upon a time, back before I really got into doing a balance transfer, that's how I felt. Oh, I don't know what this is. Oh, I'm apprehensive. Don't be. Why should somebody, let's go back to the 14% interest rate. Why should somebody be or want to pay a balance off at 14% when you could take that money and say move it to a 6.9? I use those particular APRs because that's the position that I'm in currently. I have a balance at a 14% card. In the next 2, 3, 4 days, I'm about to move it to a 6.99. It's half the interest and slightly below. Now, they do offer me another interest balance transfer offer on my Discover card at 0, but it's a 5% fee, which is what, $150? I look at it this way, that's not a 0%. What they're basically doing, if you stop and do the math, $150 over the course of a 12-month term. That's what this particular offer is. What they're doing is they're taking the interest over 12 months and adding it together and applying it to your balance. So it's not really a 0. It might be a 2.9. It might be a 1.99. I haven't done the math, but you're still paying interest. They're just taking it, they call it a transfer fee. I call it applying interest in one lump sum. That's what it is. So all they're doing is they're taking the money, the 150, and adding it to your first payment. So you're just paying the interest all up front.
Oh my gosh, that's so very helpful. Thank you, Steve. First of all, for those who are unfamiliar with Steve's channel, his channel name is Steve Young74. I highly recommend that you go to it. Steve has a variety of subject matter, not just financial. He has a show every Tuesday, 6 a.m. Eastern, Recipe Tuesday. He has a Saturday afternoon chat, of which yours truly many times shows up there. And he also has another show on Thursday afternoons. There may be a random show once in a while at any other time that Steve decides. But you would be the winner to go over and subscribe to his channel. By the way, Steve, before we go, is there anything else that you would like to add to this at all?
Well, bottom line, you know, I do say this coming back to the balance transfer. A balance transfer is a tool. Well, a credit card in general is a tool. I've mentioned that 100 times over. But I do say that a balance transfer is a specific tool because, again, nobody, and I repeat, nobody should have to pay more interest out on a credit card than what they have to. This is, I mean, of course, it is better if you have the ability to pay it off by the due date, to pay it off in full, and you don't have any interest. That's great if you have that means. Of course, I'm talking about a specific amount that may be outside of your budget that you cannot afford to make the full payment. Go ahead, move it over, put it all about, do a balance transfer. I urge everyone to take advantage of it. Do not be fearful of it. It's not that hard to do. Yes, you can make a phone call and do one over the phone. Yes, you can go online and go to the credit card that you want to transfer the money over to. It's not that hard. I'll even explain it. I'm about to do one on my Discover card. All I have to do is go over, tap on the balance transfer. You accept the offer. Go where, and what it's going to do is it's going to bring you to the page. And what you're going to do is you're going to put in that credit card's address so they can send the payment over to that card to pay it off. And they do that in the event that they cannot send it electronic. Sometimes they have to send a paper check out. That can take up to 2 weeks. Usually it doesn't most of the time, but they have you put the address in case they can't do electronic. 90% of the time, electronic is accepted. You put that down, you drop down, you enter the amount. Put that amount in. Of course, you're going to give a little bit of that credit card, not the one you're going to pay off, but the one that you're going to send the card over to. They may want the 3-digit code on the back, but literally, long story short, with about the help of 2, maybe 3 taps online, you can do a balance transfer. And normally it takes about 3 to 5, maybe 6 business days. The money is paid off at the other card. It's on this card over here. And then all you do is wait until the payment is set up to come up for you. And then you just start paying that credit card like you normally would. And that's it. There's not much to it. People do not need to fear doing a balance transfer. Believe me, I know how that is. I was like that at one time. But then when I finally went ahead and did one, I'm like, oh, okay. Is that it? That's all there was? I mean, I felt like a backhanded subconscious slap hit me over the head, quote unquote, figuratively speaking. But that's all there is.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You're refinancing your money. It's a helpful tool, and I recommend people look into it.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful information. Go ahead, Steve. You had something else.
Do not, and I keep emphasizing because there's nothing to fear, but I know the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, but that's not where I'm going. But don't be scared of a balance transfer. Definitely consider moving your money, cut down on the interest. You'll thank me later. It's not that hard to do.
Wow. Especially now with the interest rates.
They're creeping up.
They are creeping up. Thank you so much. This information that Steve just gave is of utmost value and importance. Please replay the video if there's something you want to re-understand about it. Please head over to the Steve Young74 channel. And Steve, thank you for sending me that link to that other show all about balance transfers from you. And I'll hook that up in the description box below. I'm going to play a little reminder for you guys, and Steve and I will be back with a wave. All right, we'll be right back. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Thank you, Steve. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.